there's nothing like cracking that cellophane and pulling that record out. It just smells great.
Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Non-stop hardcore energy.
I love the show, guys. You're awesome.
Unlike any other.
With your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. The Bod Father.
Man, this stuff rocks.
This is Dan Lee of Wanderer, Minneapolis, listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
The views and opinions of the guests do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of BODS Mayhem Radio Network, its staff, affiliates, or sponsors. Parental discretion is advised. Welcome to BODS Mayhem Radio Network.
Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I'm your host, John the Bod, aka The Bod Father. And as always, I'm bringing you guys and gals awesome interviews. And I want to thank each and every single person that's watching this, and to the people who come back and watch the replay of this. I have Mr. Dan Lee of Wanderer, Minneapolis-based metallic hardcore grindcore outfit Wanderer have released their debut album. And also check out an animated video for their current song, Leash, that's out right now. So Dan, man, welcome to the show. And how you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. I just got off work and turned the chair around, and here I am.
As I said, you are the very first video interview. So folks, this may come up in a giveaway contest question. So you may want to pay a little attention to all this stuff. So that's a good thing. So you guys had many setbacks due to the pandemic to release this album. What was the setbacks on this? Because I know that lots of things are now getting opened up and things like that. But let's talk about what were some of the setbacks of releasing this album?
Well, I mean, one of the big ones was that, we had the record recorded, mixed, mastered, pretty much done over a year ago. Like that record we've had that just set, ready to go. And we wanted to release it much quicker than we did, but being like a hardcore band and like that being our scene and our roots, we wanted to release the album and be able to play it. We didn't want to just release it into nothing. And then I don't know if I'd call it so much a setback, but some of the uprising stuff occurred in Minneapolis during, when George Floyd got murdered, and I took a big part of that, and so did a lot of the other band members, and the band kind of took a back seat for at least a few months. And then during COVID, we kind of started rethinking how we wanted to release the record, and we more thoroughly looked at labels, getting a catalog of videos made. We made a spice blend, and we wanted to just amass a lot of different content so that when we did drop the record, it would be more significant for us. Mm-hmm. So that wasn't as much a setback as it was like redefining what the time meant for us. And eventually we just were able to get a PR group working with us and the label, and then they just were like, we have to release it. And luckily for us, we get to do a release show, which is coming up in October, and we're starting to play a little bit, it's great.
So at that time, being in Minneapolis when all the George Floyd things happened, it had to be insane living there. And, it had to be crazy. Let's talk about that just a little bit. What did you go through?
So myself and Brent, the guitar player, we live within 10 blocks of George Floyd Square. That's our neighborhood. So we live right there. I will say, just right off the bat, that it wasn't as crazy as I think people would make it out to be. I felt completely safe in my house the whole time. So did my neighborhood. I think that kind of blew up, this whole it's a dangerous place and all that. It was fine, you knew it was chaos. But I was involved in protests and a lot of just community work at the time. And there was a hotel essentially got taken over and was housing hundreds of homeless people. And I think that was the bigger news of the whole event, was more so than things rioting and looting or whatever, was there was some crazy, insane, cool political action of let's override this hotel that's not being used and just house homeless people for months. So that was amazing. And we were doing a lot of work with that, or a few of us were in scattered amounts. But yeah, it was a wild time. It was weird for me to so abruptly forget about everything else in my life and just be like, oh no, this is what I have to do now for the next so on and so forth, you know.
Mhm. So do you see the community, and this is even crazy to even ask this question, that something like this has to bring a community together, but do you see it bringing the community closer together as one?
I'd like to think so. You know, it's really hard for me to say, right? Like I
Right.
come from a certain stance. Like I'm a very like masculine presenting white man. So like my opinion on this is like loaded with certain things. I think what I think more than bringing people together is it started a necessary dialogue, right? Like that it might be a little divisive for some. I think it helps bring certain people together, which is good. But all in all, you know, creating enemies or not, it's like a necessary conversation for us all to be having.
Sure. Right. Exactly. How excited are you to finally get this debut album out, man? Because I know it had to be eating at you guys. It's like, finally, let's get this out and be done with it and move on.
Yeah, I mean, it's really cathartic to get out. And I mean, to be perfectly honest about it, like we've started writing a lot of the next material for the next record. And like, I think for a lot of us, like it felt really good to release the record, but at the same time, we're like, okay, good, it's out, next stuff, let's go. Like we're just like already moved on. Like let's go. We recorded this a year ago, man. Like
Yeah, old stuff for you guys, but new to us. I mean,
yeah.
I know that has to like take a toll on you guys. I mean, I know it doesn't make you sick, but you guys are just like, oh, finally, let's go on.
Yeah. And I mean, like even besides like not being able to play in general for a year, we were starting to play some of this material before COVID started. And like, I personally am really excited to play a couple of the songs on the record that we haven't played ever in front of people.
Mm.
Like one of them being the song Frost Cage. Like that's my favorite one on the record. And I'm like, we've never played it live. And I am like so obscenely excited to do that one.
I can see the happiness in you right now about this album, man, because it's got to be itching at you guys to get out there. But I know you guys got 4 EPs also. So is it kind of hard now to create a set list or no? Or let's talk about
that. It's really, there's a lot of things that go into it. So I'm the new vocalist, right? I haven't been in the band that long even. The only thing I'm on for releases is this record. Mm-hmm. The old vocalist was Brandon, and they have a very different vocal style than me, and the way that they write their rhythms actually is pretty difficult for me a lot of the time. So there's a whole bunch of songs that I'm just like, I don't want to do them. They're hard and they just sound different with my voice. So we tend to like err on the side of playing a lot of the newer stuff, and then a select grab bag of like, there's certain songs on the old stuff that people in town know and like go really hard for. So, you know, the hardcore thing of like, they know them, they'll do the vocals, I can do this, you know?
Yeah, for sure. So what have you brought to the table? And I'm not knocking the previous singer at all whatsoever. I'm just asking, what have you brought to Wanderer that might have been missing possibly? Was you that extra kick in the ass maybe?
Yeah, I mean, not to like toot my own horn too much, but I'm a guitar player and bass player. Actually, I'm in a bunch of death metal bands and progressive weird bands, and that's kind of my main bag. And I went to music school for composition, and I have a more classically trained background with music. Mm-hmm. And that, I mean, we don't play that kind of music, but I think having that in the mix helps, especially with the writing, because I'm not just writing the lyrics, you know, I'm helping with things left and right when we're writing in the room. So I think that's helpful. And then also my vocal style is very different. Like Brandon does, you know, traditional hardcore yelling, whereas what I'm doing is more of like a death metal type of thing. And that emphasizes a lot of the more like metallic elements of the music, which I think is like super apparent in that a lot of the reviews don't even label us hardcore anymore. And it's like kind of intentional. Like when I joined the band, I wanted it to be more of a metal band because that's more my thing.
But adding that style though, do you think this has opened the band's eyes to getting outside that box a little bit to, you know, go a different route possibly that they was a little scared of maybe?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a lot of the new stuff that we're starting to write is like almost more like traditional death metal. Like it's almost not hardcore at all anymore. And it's just like low tuned death metal. And I'm happy as can be about it. You know, it's great.
I want to step back here for just a little bit. Talk about the pandemic. Did you do anything differently during the pandemic other than just work on music with this album? Did you catch up on anything possibly, or was you just actually catching up on some other music related stuff?
I mean, like, first and foremost, I do music. So like I'm in a bunch of different bands, and a lot of them went on hold all at the same time. One of my bands, we are getting close to done recording a record that we've been recording for basically the whole year. Remotely, all via home. I record right where you're looking at. This is like my studio.
Yeah.
So we've been working on that forever. I did a solo, like 7-song EP where I did the drums, bass, guitar, vocals, everything. That was a fun one for me for quarantine. And that's it's called Coven with 2 V's, Covven. I did that, and then I'm a huge comic book guy, so I read a lot of comic books. Tried to watch TV, but didn't really get into too much. But yeah, I read a lot during the year.
What's your favorite comic book that you have?
Oh my gosh, now that's a hard question. I mean, if I'm gonna go easy favorite, it's Preacher. That's my favorite thing ever. My entire arm is all covers of Preacher. So that's my favorite thing. I'm also a big Batman guy. I collect a lot of Batman stuff. A good significant portion of my collection is Batman.
Oh wow, jeez, I like them all, man. I like Batman, Superman. I can't sit down and read them. I'm just not tuned that way. I like seeing it. I like watching it, but I just can't get into it, man. Were these songs previously written, Dan, or all brand new on this Wonder album? Was these songs that had been laying around possibly, or are these all just brand new songs for you guys?
For the most part, they were written before I joined. Okay. I would say about like 75% was there, as like skeletons of songs and stuff like that. And then via me joining and figuring out my vocal style and going left and right with that, we, tweaked them and all that. So I actually wouldn't say it won't be until the next record where you're actually hearing my voice as much in the writing. Because I've started, writing some of the guitar riffs now, but none of that's on that record. That's all just like my lyric writing and then little tweaks here and there. But I'd say with the prime writing force that you're hearing behind it is Brent, the guitar player. It's really his thing.
Any songs that didn't make this album that's going to be on the new album down the road, or on an EP, or this all going to be new, fresh stuff?
All fresh. Everything that we had went on that record. So there's no like B-sides or anything like that.
Any tracks standing out more to you than any right now on this album? I know it must change every time you listen to it. I'm sure these have to stick out to you possibly.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned before that Frost Cage is one of my favorites. Just the genre. I'm a big like math metal nerd. Meshuggah is one of my favorite things. So like that, the main riff of that is really odd timed, and I just love it. Another standout for me would be Simone, the guest vocalist on there, Molly. Her band Closet Witch is fantastic, and working with her was great on the record. I was really excited about that, and just the lyrical content of that song I really enjoyed. I did something weird with the lyrics that I don't think many people will ever pick up on, but I can say it in interviews, that it's a direct rip of a scene from a video game. I don't know if anyone's familiar, but it's called Near Automata, but it's just part of the script from that game, word for word.
No, but I'm a huge gamer, but I've not heard of that game. But I'm sure my little buddy has next door to me because he's always into Japanese games. And
yep.
He's like, Fawn, have you heard this game? Fawn, have you heard this? I'm playing Grand Theft Auto. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I was like, oh my God. How can you do 15 games at one time when I just play one certain game and that's it? I'm done with it. Oh my God. So was there any songs that you guys were working on that totally ended up sounding different than it was intended to?
Yeah, I mean, I think one that changed a lot from the room to the writing would be Born. That song, in the room, it felt to me way more of like a hardcore song than it ended up being. Like, in my head, I had it imagined as like more of a mosh song, And then after recording it and the drums really started sticking out, I was like, oh, this is just like Headbang City. I loved it at the change, but it definitely changed its atmosphere to me post-recording.
What about you handling the guitar and plus doing other things in the band? Is this something you want to do, having more input with this band than say prior to others possibly? Is this what you're looking for?
Yeah, I mean, Wander is like, like I had said, I'm in a lot of groups, but Wander is one of my ones that gets the most of my like labor and attention. It's music I really love to play. The rest of the guys in the band are some of my closest friends, and it all just works out well there. As far as like going forward, I want more involvement with the writing. I'm never gonna push too hard because I'm like the new guy, but like, and they know, like, every time I'm at practice, am I pushing too hard? Like, is this cool, guys? Like, but like, even like years ago, before I was in the band, I had asked to play guitar. Like, I've gone up to, they used to have 2 guitar players way back. And when they went to 1, I went up to Brent and asked him if I could play guitar. And he was like, like, we like kind of just do single guitar thing. And then as soon as Brandon left, they're like, okay, come on and do vocals. And then my secret mission from now until forever is to get them to let me play guitar.
That was not on BODS Mayhem Hour, folks. That was just, something incognito that you didn't hear. Yeah, but you want somebody in a band that's going to kind of take charge and want to do stuff besides someone that's just going to sit there and you have to ask them every time, hey, what's your input on this? I don't know. You know what I mean? It's like,
or the worst is whatever's cool. It's like, oh man, like, have an opinion. Like,
yeah, it's like, oh, that's cool. No. What do you mean it's cool? It's either can we add something else to it? I like it just the way it is. Yeah. No, it's like,
I'm also the unfortunate, being that I'm like the more classically trained person in the band. I'm the person who makes everyone practice more. So like, I'm the one who's run it again. Like, nope, not good enough. Again, like.
What's impressed you the most, Dan, about making this album? And if anything, what sticks out the most about it for you personally?
I mean, I'm mostly just like really proud of the other 3 dudes. I wasn't there for the instrumental tracking. I did all my stuff separate after the fact. Mm-hmm. And I was really blown away with the level of tightness that they brought to it. Cause like what you're hearing is pretty much 100% just recorded live. Brent did do a few overdubs with the guitar, but like I was so impressed just with the other 3 dudes on that level of playing because they're so tight. And it's like you don't hear that from younger hardcore bands,
I want to go back and ask about this because you guys had some help on this album, plus with your tracks, you had some musicians that helped on this. So let's talk about that a little bit. What did each one of those bring to each of these songs possibly? Did you guys have anything set up specifically for them? What song you wanted them to help on, or did they just pick it out?
Yeah, it was really specifically thought out. Brandon being on Contented, the last song on the record, was a thing that we knew we wanted to do before most of the other songs were written. Mm-hmm. That was the first song we started playing live out of the new batch. One of the first ones written, one of our favorites. And we wanted to do some sort of symbolic passing of the torch where Brandon is, here's the new vocalist, and we figured that was the best way to do it. And Brandon's verse on that song they had written. That wasn't lyrics I wrote. They wrote those. Like they wrote just one verse for that song, quit the band, and then we like looked at them and we're like, hey, it thematically works with what I'm saying. Pop it in, Mm-hmm. So that was thought out. And then Molly and Sanjeev were mainly to contrast my vocal styles. That I'm kind of one note, like I'm down here whole time, pretty much. It goes up a little bit, but it's way down here. So we knew we needed some high vocals on parts, and Molly being a great friend of ours, we wanted to involve her. And we also didn't want like the entire track list to be men, to say that as well. And then Sanjeev is one of my personal like closest friends, and Sanjeev plays synths in my grindcore band Tulip, and I just wanted him to do it. I was like, I want him on it.
what do you hope everyone takes away, or message you hope they hear while listening to any of Wanderer's music in general, Dan? What do you hope they get from it, man, when they start to listen to it, even with the old music and to the new music?
I mean, so like if there's something I want people to get out of it, there is like an existential feeling I'm going for with it. And people have gotten close to it from reviewing the record. And there is a lot of existential doom and gloom and sadness in there. But like what I want to get across is like the whole it gets better thing. I know it sounds comical, but like, perseverance and positive mental attitude while also looking at life through a realistic lens is really helpful. And everything gets better, man. Like you know what you want in life and you can achieve it.
It's like I've always said, man, everything comes full circle. It keeps coming right back. So it's always going to present itself every time. So yeah. I'm kind of at that crossroads right now myself. It's like I want to do something else different job-wise. Not my podcast for sure. I'm definitely keeping my podcast. We're just talking about like everyday things. So, yeah.
I mean, like a lot of the lyrics are dealing with escapism, right? And that's like the name of the album is about escapism and that whole idea. And like, maybe we can live in the moment and, be around each other, but maybe also escapism isn't so bad. I don't know. I was thinking about a lot of things while writing those lyrics.
And you're right. And you have every right to do that because music should allow you to escape. It should allow you to go on a journey. It should allow you to just say, fuck everything and just be yourself and allow music to accept you for who you are.
Exactly.
So yeah, it should do that. And if music doesn't do that, they've so missed that meaning. Missed it.
And I know like us as a band too, like if we like that's like my message, right? But I know like as a whole, not to speak for everyone, we just want people to have fun, like we are a serious band and we write about serious topics and we deal with serious stuff, but like at the end of the day, what's going to get us through things is having fun. Like, let's have fun.
Yeah. There's been so much toxic, negativity and stuff. I'm like you, man. Let's just have a good time, forget about shit, and let's just move on.
Yeah. Big riffs, banging heads, and beers.
Exactly. I know you had a lot of music, and I know you still have a lot of music to this day, but did you have, or do you still have a go-to album or song that affects you as far as giving you inspiration or just let you escape that we just talked about? Do you still have an album that you keep going back to that allows you that?
Yes. That's a really easy answer for me. I have an obsession with a French composer and musician named Igor. His real name is Gautier Serre. It's spelled Igorrr. It's solo, like Baroque electronic black metal. It's like I'm always after music that I've never heard. Like if it can sound like something I've never imagined or heard, that's the most inspiring thing in the world to me. And he does stuff that's out of this world. Like to show my level of obsession, this is a 1,000 piece collector's edition puzzle of the last record.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So yeah, I mean, if I'm looking to get inspired, I pop on any of his records and it's just goofy, silly. I'm really into the idea of what I call musical comedy. And I don't mean like Weird Al Yankovic or something like that, but I mean like the riff is the punchline. Like it's a riff that makes you laugh for some reason. Like,
yeah. Folks, you want to get out and pick up Wanderer's debut album, Liberation from a Brutalist Existence, via Entelodon Records, and they also have a cassette tape via Bad Mouth Records. So, Dan, how can folks stay in touch with you guys, buy some merchandise, tour dates, when all this gets back to normalcy? How can you do that? Or just say hello.
Yeah, Wander, we're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We're making a TikTok soon, but it's all, Wander Minneapolis. Easy to find. Bandcamp, we've got all the merch. We've got records of multiple colors, so pick them up while they're lasting. We're almost out of stuff, so looking at second press soon.
Oh, that's cool. And before I let you go, good sir, would you care to do a promo for my show?
Yeah, yes, definitely. This is Dan Lee of Wander Minneapolis, listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Everybody stick around. We got some great stuff coming up, and you only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour podcast. Please get out, check out our Facebook page. It has our podcast link, YouTube link. You definitely want to subscribe to that YouTube link because we got a lot of stuff to give away. Tickets to Alice Cooper, Ace Frehley, BODS Mayhem Hour shirts to give away, all kinds of stuff to give away. So please get out there and subscribe to that. And also check out Wanderer, pick up their stuff, pick up their new album that's getting ready to come out. It's already out. Pick up all their good stuff. And hey, give this band a fair shot. And Dan, I wish you guys nothing but the best of luck, my friend.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.